If you're going to be in leadership, add value people, value their dreams, value what they're doing, and become that person in their life that is solution seeking, not somebody that's going to take them down and show them what's wrong in everything. Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hey everybody, welcome back to the It Matters podcast. Thanks for joining me in another episode. I hope you guys are having a great time, that this month is going good for you, and that you're just winning at something, that you're experiencing some victories in whatever you're working on and whatever you're doing in life. And I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join me and on this podcast, where we want to chat a bit about mindset, leadership, personal growth, just things that are going on, and just something to help you become a better leader and hopefully encourage you on your path so that you can lead better and that you can lead well. And so I am very thankful that you're joining me today. At the time of the release of this episode, we have just celebrated Easter weekend. And, to me, Easter does have a meaning to me. And when I think about the weekend, I go, I think one of a word that really encompasses over the weekend is hope. And that word hope means a lot to me, and especially for my faith, and just, what it means to my family and me. And so I was thinking about what that means. And one thing I do know about leadership that I learned a long time ago, and it's something that I continue to work on and get better, is that leaders are dealers in hope. Have you ever heard of that before? That leaders are dealers in hope. That's an important thing to remember, because, as leaders, if we are able to work with people and be able to give them hope for a better future, a brighter future, that we're going to be able to work on things, and we're going to be able to accomplish great things, and we're going to make things better. We're going to invite people into this world of just not only positivity, but we want to encourage them to look at the bright side and see, hey, you know what? We got a lot to be thankful for, and there's always an opportunity. If we're still breathing on this earth, there's always an opportunity to change. There's an opportunity to grow. There's an opportunity to learn from our mistakes, to continue to every morning bring the best version of ourselves. And hopefully, if we get enough of us thinking like that and working on purpose that way, we're going to be able to make an impact in the world. And so I wanted to chat a little bit about that. I wanted to bring some encouragement behind that, because you know what the reality is, as I continue to look around in our society and in our culture, is that it doesn't take much. You don't have to walk far to be able to realize that there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of brokenness. There's a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of, things going on that don't necessarily bring hope. That in fact maybe the opposite way, that make us sad, anxious, depressed, stressed out. There's a lot of things that can contribute to that. And as leaders, we need to be able to help our teams, our families, those people that we get to embark on a journey with in do this life thing. We need to be able to encourage them and be able to give them a little bit of hope, at least a little bit of glimmer of hope in the future, that say, hey, the future can be brighter. There's things that we can change today to make our circumstance better. There's things that we can be thankful for, and we don't have to swim in this filth of negativity, because that is so easy to find. You don't have to look far to be able to get caught up in that, and it's dangerous. It is dangerous to get caught up in that, because you can end up growing up to be bitter. You can just put yourself in this scenario, in the situation that the world is out to get you, and that nothing is good out there, that nothing will ever get better. And I want to argue different. I want to tell you that there is hope. I want to tell you that you can make a difference in your circle of influence, and that you can make an impact and be able to help people, unravel and unpack new ideas and be able to give them the encouragement and the push they need to be able to say, hey, we can make this environment better. We can change the world, one thought at a time, or one little step at a time, or we can make things better for people that come in contact with us. If you're building a business, you can provide hospitality, you can be generous, you can provide great customer service that will brighten the day of somebody. That can make a difference. I've seen it in people's lives that a simple smile can make a difference in a person's life, because you don't know what they're going through. And the worst thing that we can do is get caught up in this arena of judgment and this arena of I know better, and that is the only way that things should function. There is way too many moving parts in the world for us to become self-righteous and become so self-centered to think that we know the only way. I know that I don't. I am continuously learning every day. I'm reflecting. I'm trying to tweak. Trust me, I have a family. I have children. I'm always learning from that alone. And then I got, of course, mentors and coaches in my life that I get to pick their brain, ask questions, and really reflect and going, okay, where can I adjust? Where can I tweak? And the reality is that we try our best. And if we can commit to saying, hey, I'm going to try to be better than yesterday, or I'm going to try to continue to tap into my potential so I can unleash, who I am, and continue to step into who I'm being called to be. Man, there is so much opportunity for us to step into the best version of ourselves. And then out of that, we get to impact the world. I get excited to think about, hey, who am I going to be in the next 5 years? Who am I going to be in the next 10 years? That's long-term thinking. But who am I going to be this year? Who am I going to be in a month from now, 2 months from now? Like, how am I growing today? And how are those going to continue to stack and elevate me? And how are those going to ripple into something that I'm not even fully aware of that? Because the fact is that I'm learning. I'm going to make mistakes. I've done mistakes, and I'm probably going to do them again. Why? Because I'm human, and so are you. And so we need to have a little bit of grace on ourselves. And you know what? There's going to be people that are not going to agree with you. That's okay. You're gonna find ways to learn and grow, and maybe you look back and reflect and go, I could have done that better. For sure. I do that all the time. But if we can become hopeful that we can be better and back that up with the routines and the things that we're working on and the practices that we're putting into our lives, the good habits and the what is challenging our thinking, what are we doing with that? If we can become leaders that say, hey, I want to be a leader that spreads positivity, that spreads hope, that spreads life, and I'm not going to be that leader that spreads toxic leadership, or that wants to control and wants to influence people so that they can stay stuck in a pit and not actually grow and move. I want you to reflect on the kind of leader you are, and are you that leader that deals in hope? Because that is one of the most powerful things that you can do. Here, time out for one moment. I want you to think, out of all the leaders that you've worked for, that you've been part of, bosses, managers, coaches, teachers, which ones have been your favorite? Let's be honest for one moment. Nobody really cares for that authority figure, that boss person that has been very negative, that nitpicks you, that breaks you apart, that makes you feel like garbage, that makes you feel like you're not good enough. Nobody really cares. We could probably learn from that in some shape or form, for sure. You can probably say, well, they did have a point here and there, but overall, they could have had a better way of approaching any situation. They could have had a better way of speaking to you. They could have had a better way of addressing you. There is a lot of different ways that we can deal with people. You've heard me say leadership is about the study of people. Leadership is about studying behavior. And so with that, we have to learn how to treat people well. There is no excuse for treating people like crap. And so I get passionate about this because we think that because we have an opinion and we have our own way of doing it, that we can just treat people whatever way we want. And that does not instill hope in anybody. In fact, that breaks people down, and we might be stunting their growth and their potential because they see us as an authority, or maybe they're not mature enough to understand how to take the negative and get rid of it and grab the positive and apply it. So we need to be very careful and take responsibility over how we treat people because it matters. You have the ability to be a leader that instills hope in people, and you have no idea what that may do for them. That impact that you create in them. That's the thing about impact, by the way. We sometimes can't measure that. You really can't measure impact in a grand scheme because you'll end up planting a seed in somebody and it'll grow, it'll get watered, and it'll get grown somewhere else years down the line, and different, it'll look different, and they might impact the world, but you don't know if you had something to do with that or how much of an impact you had to do with that. So I would err on the side of how can we always be instilling hope in people by adding value to them, by speaking life into them, by being encouraging, and be able to just say, hey, you can tap into your potential and you're going to do great things. It doesn't take much to be able to speak life into somebody. It's so easy to be negative. There's enough negative people in this world. Do not add to that. Do not be that person, please. If you're going to be in leadership, add value. Value people. Value their dreams. Value what they're doing, and become that person in their life that is solution seeking, not somebody that's going to take them down and show them what's wrong in everything. Of course, I'm very aware that when we point things to people that they need to work on, and of course, but check yourself. What heart are you bringing into that? Because a lot of the time, when we want to pick at people and we want to nitpick and we want to, we bring this negative spirit and we want to break people down, we're doing it because there's some insecurities in ourselves. There's things that we've done that we're not too sure that, maybe we're jealous, maybe we're angry, maybe there's some guilt and shame connected to that. There's some sort of brokenness that we're dealing with, and we want to hurt other people. We want to invite other people into our misery. And so I want you to really just continue to work on yourself, and of course, be real. If there's things that you're going through, well, get in community and bring people around you that can walk you through that. But I actually have the posture of wanting to learn, the posture of saying, okay, maybe I can do things differently. Maybe I haven't always thought about it the right way. What is the posture that you bring to every situation? Is the posture that you bring the posture of humility. Humility is going to be one of the biggest characteristics that we can lead from, because when we do that, we realize that, hey, we're all in this together and we're all trying to figure it out, and we don't want to, be that voice that just always just nags and just kind of say, hey, questions everything. Of course, questions are good, but what is the spirit that you're bringing to that? Let's be people that strive to be leaders that say, hey, how do we have a solution-seeking mindset, and how do we see this challenge, and how do we make the world a better place? How do I add value to you so that you can be the best version of yourself? How are you going to be able to, if you're in a business or a job setting, how can I make your role even better? How can I help you succeed? How can I lift you and elevate you to another level so that you can do your job in a way that you've never done before? Hey, kids, how do I speak life to you so that when you do something wrong, how can we walk together and show you and teach you and say, hey, this wasn't the best way to do that, but you could have done it this way. But hey, let's learn together. Let me teach you how to think. Let me teach you a different way of looking at that. We all have the ability, when we come into a conversation, when we come into an interaction with somebody, you're either going to be that negative voice or you're going to be that positive voice. You're either going to be that voice that sucks life out of them, or that voice that gives life. Are you going to be that hopeless voice, or are you going to be that voice of hope? That hope that says, hey, you know what? things might look a little bit rough right now, but hey, this is why it could be better. This is what we should focus on. We should focus on where we're at right now, some of the great things we've accomplished. Let's look at the things that we've learned from the past. And because of that, this is why we can change the future. This is why we can change ourselves, and we can continue to build something that is worthy, and it's going to be worth it in the long term, and for a long time. And not only that, that we're going to be able to impact generation after generation. That's hard work. I'll admit that. It is hard work. It is hard work to be able to stay positive sometimes. It's hard work to be able to focus on others. It's hard work to work on ourselves, right? You've heard me say it before. The hardest person you're going to lead is yourself. Yeah, we're stubborn. We have bad habits. We make mistakes. We'll fail, all that stuff. But hey, it's worth it when we break through. It's worth it when we believe in somebody, and we believe that they can do better things than us. It's worth it. It's worth it not having to pull them down to our level, instead allowing them to raise us up and learn from them. Do you realize that you can learn something from everybody? Do you have that type of attitude? Because you can learn something that works under you, that's under your responsibility. You can learn from somebody who's equal to you. You can learn from somebody that has years in front of you. There's so much, and I can't stress the point of saying, can we be leaders that are humble enough to realize that we're figuring this out? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's got it together. But so let's be hopeful. Let's be hopeful that we can learn, that we can grow, and that others around us will too. And because you just never know what's being created, you might have that one idea, regardless of where you're at. You might not even be running a business. You might be working on a different team that has different responsibilities and all that. You might be working on an idea that can really impact the world. And in my opinion, if it impacts one person, is it worth it? I think so. I think so. I think that if you work hard and even let's say you're on a sports team and you're trying to win a game, but in that process of winning or losing, if you build better character, if you learn something and you grow together as a team, and you do life together, is it worth it? Of course it is. Of course it is. But stop being so hard on yourself. Stop focusing on all the garbage around the world and the things that are making us feel like we're not worthy or that we can't accomplish anything. Regardless of whether you have a faith or not, let's be hopeful. Let's be hopeful. There's a lot to be thankful for. And I think that if we just took a little time to just do a little quick inventory, being thankful, having gratitude, will be the springboard to propelling us to be more hopeful and to actually be then generous and be able to impact the world that way. Anyhow, I wanted to bring you this episode and give you some thoughts, because there's just a lot of things going on that are frustrating me, and maybe this is just me just kind of giving you some thoughts from the way, what I've been sitting in. But if you missed what I've been trying to say here, is let's just be leaders that spread hope, that give vision, that fan the flame of dreaming, that we know that not only we can do it, but others can do it. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. Let's do connection. Let's do community. And let's try to make not only our world better, but other people's worlds better. And let's see how we can make, one person at a time, can we make an impact? And can we just be that spark that people get attracted to? Because in reality, human beings, we get attracted to that positivity, that feel good. Nobody likes to be treated like garbage. Nobody likes to be treated like crap. Nobody wants to be spoken down to. Nobody wants to be, teared apart and just tell them how horrible they are. Let's be that voice that impacts people on the other side. Let's just fan the flame of encouragement, and let's look into people and see the best in them, and let's bring the best out of people. I'm excited that you've joined me on another episode. I hope this adds value to you. I hope it impacts you. Share it with somebody. Talk to somebody about this. Do some reflection. Do some journaling, and just see how you can be better today. Let's take it one day at a time. because over here we know that if we all strive to be better leaders, it's going to be a win-win when the leader leads well. So let's go lead well, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.